Welcome my friends of WildRift and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video, and for today we are going to take a look at the climbing ELO tier list. This tier list is dedicated to give you the easiest champions with the most power to make you climb some ranks. But before we hop into the video, let's talk about our question of the day. Do you think there are bots in your games? Let me know in the comments below. For our Baron lane pick of the patch we have Aatrox, and Aatrox is a newly released champion. This champion is a powerhouse and dominates laning phases, teamfights, 1v2 situations and everything there is about fighting. Whenever this champion has his ultimate ability available, he turns into a literal god that runs you down. But what makes Aatrox so special compared to other champions? Aatrox, you can basically imagine him as a type of Riven, but with way more healing. Aatrox loves dominating the enemy during the laning phase, and his key signature move in laning phase is just hitting the enemy with his first ability. There's also something you have to understand when it comes to playing Aatrox. His passive is a massive game changer in terms of damage dealt. Whenever you hit an enemy with an attack or an ability, its cooldown is reduced massively. With that massively reduced cooldown, you can go for even harder trades and regen some life on top of it. For your trading pattern in lane, you have to understand that you should weave auto attacks in between your spells as often as you can. Once you get to the Divine Sunderer point, you have to understand that you need to attack at least every 1.5 seconds after using a spell to get the maximum value of that item. You'll quickly realize that Aatrox without a Divine Sunderer is just absolutely awful. Another trick you can use for Aatrox is using your first ability to zone off the enemy during the laning phase. Your first ability is an AoE ability that deals AoE damage to everything in its way, and it also has a sweet spot. This sweet spot CCs the enemy for a brief duration and deals a lot of bonus damage. So whenever your enemy is going for a last hit, punish them accordingly. And this is our full tier list for the Baron lane. Next on our list comes the jungle role, and here we have Kayn. Kayn is one of those champions that love to clear their jungle super fast, and once they evolve their form, Kayn becomes a monster. But before his form, he is kinda weak, but in a solo queue context, this is mostly okay because you'll get more than enough gold to compensate and more than enough fights to actually go for something you want. In a competitive environment, pulling off Kayn is a bit harder because, well, you are not the one that determines when fights happen most of the time. But when it comes to Kayn, there's one thing you need to understand. Don't go for blue Kayn, it's a big bait so far. The best form you can go for as of right now is the red Kayn form, and you want a Divine Sunderer. Divine Sunderer is just such a key item in this video game that every bruiser wants to have this item in their inventory because it's just too broken. As a quick tip for you in the jungle role, start with your first ability, then your second ability and your third ability again. With that you have the highest or the fastest jungle clear possible and can then transition into fighting. Other than this, if you're afraid that something is gonna happen to your jungle or you need to be more proactive, you can go for your third ability on level 3. Other than that, that's all you have to know about Kayn for the jungle clear. In laning, your champion got kinda hard-nerfed with the implementation of the changes to bone plating, which also reduces the damage of the very first ability or attack that strikes the enemy. It's kind of a problem now that bone plating is so overpowered for laning phase, but well, we'll see how it goes in the future. But for your overall game plan, you want to traverse the map and come from angles that the enemy cannot possibly expect. Don't forget, you can go through walls, which means you can avoid certain vision, and if you avoid certain vision, people can't expect your gank, and well, you surprise them, and then most of the time, because people are not paying attention anyway, you'll get a free kill whatever you do. It's amazing. And this is our full tier list for the jungle role. The next champion on this list is Galio for the middle lane. Galio is one of those picks that has been just sleeping around the corner and really nothing happened with this champion. But Galio never really got too bad, he was just undervalued. There was once a time where Galio's first ability dealt double damage due to a bug, and then after this got changed, the champion slowly dropped out of favor. Galio with the full AP build still is a force you have to reckon with, and this is why. Galio, when it comes to just ulting into a fight, having full AP will literally demolish a fight if people stand in his ultimate, which means if they're close, they will die. Also during the laning phase, Galio is one of those champions that if the enemy messes up once, the Galio with his high and overstat stats will just kill you. If you get hit by a full Galio combo including the empowered auto attack, you will die or lose most of your HP. He also features something that most champions struggle with: effective wave clear. Don't forget in which elo bracket we're actually in right now and how likely the enemy is to punish you for what we're doing. But with Galio, you're able to instantaneously clear away from the get-go and get proactive on the map. And even if you end up being on the slow end of things, like unable to rotate, you still have your ultimate ability to follow up on a play. So whatever happens, your teammates will never be alone if you're in the center of the map, which will be your dedicated place. You want to be in the center of the map so you can ult towards any point of the map. And this is our full tier list for the mid lane. The next champion we have to talk about is Tristana. Tristana is one of those champions that just gets away with most of the things because she's left unpunished. And if a Tristana is left unpunished, her range increases so far that she'll attack you from a distance where you don't even see her, similar to a Jinx. But compared to a Jinx, Tristana has something that Jinx doesn't have: burst damage on demand. Tristana's third ability is a huge bomb that deals massive AoE damage that can be used on structures and champions alike. Once this thing is stacked up, it will deal massive damage around it and take everyone into their graves. Now if you think about this, what do AD carries usually lack? It's burst damage. AD carries usually excel in dealing consistent DPS, damage per second, but Tristana is a champion that can do both. She can attack you from super high range and she can deal burst damage. She can even use her abilities in a way that she pushes an enemy champion into their team with her ultimate ability to then stack up the bomb fully, because abilities also add a stack to that bomb to then explode in the middle of the enemy team. And if you know Tristana, you'll realize that this kind of thing can decide a fight super easily. Another thing that's super flying under the radar is attacking enemy minions with your bomb and your auto attack to kill them while enemy champion is close to them. Don't forget, if Tristana kills a minion while she has E or her third ability skilled, the minion will explode, dealing extra damage around it. Now if you add the bomb to it, you'll realize how much damage you can deal in a quick trade without exposing yourself to any risk. That is something that is severely underutilized and is definitely something that people should pick up on. And this is our full tier list for the AD carry role. Last but not least, we have the support role, and here we have Karma as a solid staple pick as forever and for the eternity of WildRift, unless they remove the champion. This champion is just absolutely broken and one of my key champions on my run to legend. Just made it super easy, just dealing the most damage on the support role without even having to input any effort. And here was my little trick of what I love to do with Karma. Don't go Spellthief's Edge. Please don't go the damage support item, just go to Relic Shield for the extra 100 HP. Then you also take Adaptive Carapace for extra 50 HP. Therefore you'll have 450 extra HP, which allows you to deal more auto attack damage. Sadly, we had to kiss the champion rune goodbye, which means this strategy is a little bit weaker now, but it's still as potent as before in the sense of winning lane consistently. Other than this, you're most of the time now defaulting to the Scorch rune because it's the only other option you have available that directly impacts lane in a positive manner. Other than that, you might even go for Brutal if you're really feeling it, but that is just a little bit too crazy from my perspective. Nonetheless, there's something that most Karma players don't do: the ultimate combo with Karma. You use your empowered second ability to root the enemy, which then guarantees your ultimate ability to hit both of them, which then guarantees your next ability, which will be empowered due to the use of your ultimate, aka the first ability, to hit all of them again. As a Karma, you have almost always the 100% guarantee that all your spells are going to hit, including Meteor. Therefore, it's literally impossible to lack damage on this champion, and you'll most of the time be the #1 damage on your team. Trust me, this champion is broken and needs to be nerfed again, but it's not gonna happen, and if they're nerfing it, they're just not understanding what they should nerf. If there's anything that needs to be changed about this champion, it's the guaranteed root, which will guarantee all of your damage. And this is our full tier list for the support role. If you want more RiftGuides content, leave a like and subscribe to the channel and come back for more, because we'll always give you more. Be it jungle clears, be it little guides, be it informative videos, whatever it is, we have it and we'll bring it to you. See you soon for more content.